Everyday people like you and me just wanna live naturally. Time taught you and you told me nothing gonna get us down. Can't you see? I said, if it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. No, 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 no. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. People all around making sounds and all kinds of noise. If I could only get there, then I could enjoy. Who they trying to be, who they trying to fool. Let's change the mood right now. Turn down the lights, it's time to cool it down. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me.
No.
If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me.
Hello.
Yesterday and what we could be, it don't matter. Getting more of what we don't need, it don't matter. Everything unless I'm with you, it doesn't matter to me, no. Bring it on down to me. Sing it on down for me. Sing it on down to me. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. No, 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 no. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. I said.
Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Jumana Damoud Salami, Managing Director of Hospitality Services, and welcome to our talk about opportunities for local food distributors, producers, and farmers. This talk is our 10th in a series of 12 virtual talks, where we reconnect virtually and rebuild the future of our industry. During our previous talks, a recurrent theme has been the need to source local products, particularly in light of the increased cost of imports. This provides quite an opportunity. This also means more collaboration among chefs and local producers. And while inventing and creating new products is important, finding the right distributor and the right distribution channels is as significant. Today, we have some of the most prominent local distributors as well as successful entrepreneurs on our panel, and we look forward hearing their views about their experiences, what they look for, and what recommendations they can offer. And while we cannot come up with all the answers in an hour, we can put our heads together and get the conversation started. These talks have been made possible thanks to the support of USAID-funded Lebanese Enterprise Development Project-led, and we would like to thank them for their trust. This session will be moderated by Odema. Today we have with us Nada Alameddin, who partnered with us for these events. And I would like now to welcome our panel and open the floor to the debate. Nada, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon and welcome again to our 10th panel. We're looking forward to a very inspiring session today. So I will be asking each one of you, if possible, to introduce yourselves and your businesses briefly, if possible. I will start with the lady, Janine.
Hi, so I'm Janine Ghosn. I'm the managing director of Gabriel Bogti SL company. I've been in the company for almost 19 years. So basically the company is specialized in food and beverages. We are distributor all across Lebanon and across all the different channels in the off-trade mainly, I mean off and on trade. we've also have a large experience in the retail through our shop Vintage Wine Cellar, and recently being in a full intention to be omni-channel company and to cater and serve all the need of the B2B and B2C. We've launched 2 e-commerce platforms, so vintagefinewineandspirit.com, that is mainly catering alcoholic beverages and wine for the B2B and B2C mainly all across Lebanon. And recently also we've launched livegood.com, which is an e-commerce platform, again, catering B2C across all Lebanon, specialized in positive and well-being food.
Thank you, Janine. Sumaya.
Sumaya,
you're on
you're
mute. Yeah.
So hi, everybody. Hello, all. So I know that we have 100 participants with us today, and I hope that this panel will be beneficial to all of you, or at least I hope. I'm Sumaya Mirai. I'm the founder of Taka Snacks, and I established my business in 2016. Today, Taka is the leading Middle Eastern vegan snack brand, and we're available in 8 different countries.
Thank you, Sumaya. Roy?
Hello, everyone. My name is Roy Harb. We started our business, Ayadina. My mom started it in 1996. This is our 25th year. We are now a 2nd generation, and we started to expand the brand and try to reach export markets. We have all types of Mooney items, pickles, jams, liquids, spices, herbs, everything you want. This is the 2nd generation, as I said, and my mom started. She is still with us. She still checks the quality of everything we do.
Thank you. Nicolas?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this panel. I'm Nicolas Gholam. I'm a researcher in rural development, and at the same time, I am the co-founder of Qaria and Mawsam. They are 2 startups, barely 2 years old in Lebanon. Qaria is a startup that works in rural tourism with small-scale producers to provide experiential activities for users, and Mawsam is an online convenience store for small-scale producers as well who do not have a proper market access in Lebanon. I hope you enjoy the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Masoud. I'm the CEO of Etablissement Antoine Masoud. So Etablissement Antoine Masoud is a distribution company and operates retail stores. In distribution, we focus on 3 divisions. One is what we call non-food, so fast-moving consumer goods, food and beverages. And I'm also the co-founder and the board member of Biomass Organic Food, which has been created almost 14 years ago. So that's it.
Thank you, Anthony. Ahmad?
Hello. My name is Ahmad Makki. I am the head of FMCG at Fattal Group. I've been with the group for the past 18 years. We are regional agent of multinational brands and distributor of trusted premium brands operating in the Middle East and North Africa. We add value by enhancing demand, ensuring availability of goods, guaranteeing quality, efficient logistics, and dedicated customer service. We do serve the trade, on-trade, off-trade, and HoReCa. And we do have our own retail shop, Taivon, and e-commerce, which is newly launched Fattal Online. We also have a small factory to distribute non-food, shower gel, and dishwashing, very small compared to the producers. Our own factory called SLCI. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. So for the audience, I'd like to welcome you all. I know that we have more than 300 people registered. and attending this webinar. I would like to inform you that you can interact with us throughout the webinar through asking your question in the Q&A window. So I'm going to be starting that webinar. As you all know, we've got producers, distributors, farmers, and we even have some of you who are holding two hats. So I will be starting with the first question. What are Lebanon market gaps today in terms of supply? So I will direct that first question to Anthony.
Okay. Okay. In terms of I don't know what you mean exactly, because supply can be in raw material and supply can be in finished products. I think that if the question is about what do we lack in terms of raw material to have a proper industry in Lebanon, we lack a lot of things because, you know, Lebanon is a country where 85% of what we consume is imported. It doesn't mean that there is no local industry. The local industry is here. It's actually, in some instances and in some sectors, it's very good. And it's a golden opportunity now for this industry to shine. Now, do they have all the components to shine today? I'm not sure. So to answer your question about the challenges of supply, yes, we have a lot. And obviously, with the current dollar situation, this problem is becoming bigger and bigger. So raw material can be an issue. In terms of finished products, we all watch the news every day. So today there is no shortage of supply. There is a change in the nature of the product that Lebanese people are consuming. Okay, so we were used to a certain standards or certain brands that people used to consume every day, and this environment is changing rapidly because the Lebanese consumer needs to have affordable brands that they can afford to buy and consume on a daily basis. And this is one of the biggest challenges that exist on the marketplace today. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I tried to answer you on the raw material side and on the finished product side.
Thank you, Anthony. What input do you have to add, Janine?
Basically, I would agree a bit on what Anthony is saying. And I guess the main issue that Lebanese producers are faced to are very much similar to what we are faced to as distributor, which is that we lack a lot of raw material. However, because of the crisis, we've honestly, us as distributor or e-commerce platform people, or even from a consumer point of view, we've discovered some amazing available local brands that were not able to shine due to many other considerations. But I would say that Lebanese producer can further enhance their offering, and in many of the categories, if you look at the dairy categories, I think there are a lot of gaps to be filled, especially that we are a big producer of dairy products. So digging more into things and looking more at the market dynamic, I think that we can create much more and have much better offering for the Lebanese consumer. Bearing in mind that I insist on saying that we are discovering really very qualitative products, Lebanese produced products nowadays in Lebanon, because they are able to shine a bit more.
All right, Roy, wearing two hats, being a farmer and a producer at the same time, what do you think like really are Lebanon market gaps in terms of supply?
Well, raw material can be acquired in many ways, and we have a lot of good farmers, we have a lot of good entrepreneurs that are advancing the farming, let's say, sector. It is, in my opinion, it is the mass production of the products that you need in the market. Mass production facilities for people like me, for a small producer, I mean, is an issue because we are now facing devaluation of our lira, and we cannot buy big machinery or invest in factories to improve our production. The second major hurdle, in my opinion, is the quality certification and the standards of production that are required. This keeping in mind that not just to fulfill the local need of the local market, it is also a big thing to export, even to neighboring countries. So in my opinion, it is mass production facilities. Second is quality standards in production. Then in third place comes the proper distribution with lower costs to our fellow distributors on the panel. A little bit lower cost to help us
which we will
to
tackle throughout the webinar.
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you, Roy. Nicolas, what do you have anything to add on what your colleagues have just mentioned?
Not much, basically, not much. Maybe what I have to add is a bit on the macro level, which is the whole sector needs proper infrastructure, just like my colleagues just said. And it needs a little bit of push on the policy level as well in order for the Lebanese product, whether it is the industrial one or the artisanal one, to be able to compete within itself on the Lebanese territories and in order to be exported. So there are some work that needs to be done on the policy level by the governmental agencies and or by syndicates who are able to affect decision-making on a national scale rather on regional scale whatsoever. We can go into details as we go in this panel.
Thank you. Sumaya.
Yes.
So tell us more from your perspective, what do you think are the market gaps, please?
So today, I think as a manufacturer and a producer, we're looking at the same issues that my colleagues have just said. You know, it's getting more difficult, I think, to have the cash flow needed to secure your raw material. But so you need to really understand the mechanisms of securing your cash flow in order to sustain your operations. And a lot of, you know, we as producers and manufacturers, when we're doing you know, we're adding value to a product. So 95% of our raw material at TAQA still comes from outside Lebanon. And I think three raw materials come actually from Lebanon, which is sea salt from Anfe, orange blossom water, and rose water. So I think for us as manufacturers and producers, we have the challenge today to find a local raw material, either innovate for it to be sourced out of Lebanon completely, or at least 50% of it.
Okay. All right, Sumaya, I'll stay with you. I don't know if Ahmad is with us still. Ahmad Makki. Okay, I'll stay with you, Sumaya. And I know that you have two distributors with us on the panel.
Yes.
So tell us, how did you find them?
So I think that this is something that I've always said, you know, you can get a very good product, you can make the best product, but without a distributor, you're ultimately, in my opinion, will fail, or you will remain extremely, extremely niche. Like you will never be able to get to that level of a product that can compete on shelf, on supermarket shelf. And finding a distributor in Lebanon, I think, was the toughest tasks that I had to personally expose myself to, you know, from conversations and like rejections. And I don't do very well with rejections. So it was a harsh learning curve, but I matured quite steeply. And yeah, and I mean, Etablissement Antoine Masoud was, I mean, took 1 year to close that deal, or 9 months. And they were the most generous to try with a small product, because 90% of all distributors in Lebanon, they refused to distribute TAQA snacks in 2016, 17, and 18. And I think, like Janine was saying, is that distributors didn't have the mindset that actually local producers can produce a product of quality, whether it was ISO, whether it was with the packaging, whether we wanted to compete. So the distributors were used to European brands, American brands. They came with budgets. They, you know, whitewashed all the highways with their marketing budgets, etc. So distributors didn't have the appetite for small brands. And I think that with Etablissement Antoine Masaoud, TAC has succeeded to position itself as a household today cookie. Like, I think TAC today is enough known that people consume it from the north to the south. It's not just a capital biscuit. And I think that's really thanks to Masaoud.
Thank you so
And
much.
along with, now we're going into the UAE market. And Armada, which is a subsidiary company of Fattal, has also picked up the brand and is now working to distribute us in the UAE. So I think this is just, to speak towards the distributors. When you leverage small brands and the brands really aim to become professional and compete with international brands, there's a lot of room for us to grow.
All right, thank you, Sumaya. I'll ask the question to Ahmad, which I don't know.
You might need to repeat the question because he was.
Yeah, Ahmad, I have a question after what Sumaya just told us. You as a distributor, what are you looking for when you are picking to be adding a brand, a product to your portfolio? Okay, I think Ahmad is not with us. I'll direct the question to Janine.
Basically, the criteria are very much simple. It's about, it goes the same for all the brands. Basically, for us to have any brand on board, first, it needs to fit within the company's vision, and any brand is welcome to be part of the portfolio as long as it adds value to the offering the company is giving. And today, honestly, we have beautiful discovery on the Lebanese brand that we've recruited lately in the portfolio. We have La Turba wine, which is full of passion, and there's a lot of vision and what might be upcoming. Same goes for Bites of Delights, which is an amazing range of biscuit that we do cater in the portfolio, and that adds a lot of value to our offering, be it in the positive food and the well-being. Same goes for Virgo brand, that is a very much organic olive oil and vinegar brands, or even Grapefruit that are bars. All the brands I have named are local brands that are part into our portfolio. And the main criteria of recruitment was first, the bond we've had with the producer, because carrying a brand into distribution is all about the passion the producer puts into it, and he conveys to our team, because we remain the vehicle between the producers and the end consumer frontliner. That's from one side. And the most important things are basically the vision and where the brand could go and what it could add as a value to our portfolio.
Thank you, Janine. Nicolas, can you tell us how do you choose the brands in your convenience store at Mawsam?
Okay, basically we're not talking about brands. We're talking about producers, at least on my level, on our level. And the Lebanese producers can be big producers, medium, small and micro. Well, Mawsam is working with the micro, small, and perhaps some of the medium ones who would like to feature in the market and who aren't very interested into existing in the conventional market, which is the supermarket, the small shops, and so on and so forth. This is why they want to feature in the specialty shops. They want to feature in farmers market. They want to feature door-to-door direct sales. They want this niche approach without having to offer a niche price or a premium price, and so on and so forth. What we work with is that everybody works on different categories. The first thing that we do is we characterize. We don't define, we characterize, because there is no still any clear definition, official definition in Lebanon about the MSMEs, about the Lebanese MSMEs. It is a draft that is this. We're still waiting for the parliament to actually do his job on it. But officially, we don't have any clear definition. So we try to characterize them. And by characterizing them, we try to see how big is their turnover, how many employees they have, from where do they get their raw material, do they get them from their villages, from their lands, from the nearby lands, do they get them from conventional stores or from industrial suppliers, and they call themselves authentic. We need to understand that. So there is a set of very common characteristics that we look into on the first level. The second level, what we look into is each category. Like, for example, we assess the honey producer or the beekeeper in a way based on certain criteria that they are different from the winemaker, that they are different from the small farmer, and so on and so forth. So it is still there is no rule for that yet. That it is still an experiential approach to it, because in Lebanon, everything that is related to the alternative food system, and when I say alternative, it is everything that is coming or working in parallel of the food system that we all know and which we all use in our daily lives. It is still popping. It is still creating a small kind of a renaissance, and it is still being experiential on this level. Basically, this is it.
Thank you. I go back now to Roy. Roy, with Ayadina, you started the business 25 years ago. Your mom started it, and you have clients. Do you have distributors? Did you find distributors?
Yes, we don't have distributors. We have never thought to go with distributors, mainly for the single fact that our production levels were not up to the let's say the capacity that they were looking for. So if I wanted to go with for example, Fattal, Fattal would require a certain amount, a minimum amount of products to distribute. At that stage, let's say 2 years ago, we were not able to supply the quantities. And now, since 2 years, and the problem that basically was in favor of producers like us, we have started to enlarge our facilities and started to produce more. And but we are still not looking for distributors, because they will take a big chunk of our cash flow, which is needed also to keep on growing and keep on expanding. I believe the natural trend would be that we will look for distributors in the near future, as soon as we are able to produce the need of the local market and also of the export market.
Okay, thank you, Roy. I'll be asking now Anthony the question. You as a distributor. So Sumaya was just telling us how you picked Taka and you added it to the portfolio. So is there a sort of a checklist you have so that it needs to be filled? Is there a sort of a turnover that you are expecting from a Lebanese brand before that you accept to add them to your portfolio? And did that change before the crisis and after the crisis? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So first of all, the reason why we chose Taka is because of Sumaya, the person first. Then Taka
because she doesn't give up.
No, actually, I will explain. Listen, this is the answer to this question is actually a rather long one. So I will try to give you a little bit my point of view. Our request to add Lebanese brand to our portfolio did not start when the crisis blasted in Lebanon. So we have been distributing the local products for a while now. Sumaya mentioned 2016. We have also in the portfolio Domaine de Tourelle and Araq Brun and Asal Addoum. So those brands, we distribute them since a long time now. So the quest did not start during the crisis. Now, the checklist that you're talking about is it's not really a checklist. What's important for a distributor, so economically speaking, for a distributor to make economic sense to have a product on board, it has to generate a certain amount of turnover. Otherwise, it doesn't have enough, I would say, it doesn't have critical mass, to be taken by a distributor. So there's a minimum turnover that the brand should have in a certain market for the distributor to step in and take this brand and amplify actually the presence of this brand. Because what's the role of a distributor at the end of the day? We act on one part of the value chain. So we are not brand owners. In some instances we are, but in the case of Taka and Masoud, we are not the brand owner. So we are a service provider. We have a certain role on the value chain. And this role actually is to take the product, the finished product, and amplify its presence in a certain market. So to multiply the contact occasion of this specific product with the consumer on a wider base. Now, for this to happen, there's what we call the groundwork. So a brand owner, when a brand owner creates a brand, no one understands the product that the brand owner has created better than the owner himself. Okay, so and for the owner to be ready to work with a distributor, the brand owner should do what we call the groundwork, the field work. So they should test the moment of truth of their product with the Lebanese consumer. They should adapt the mix accordingly. They should fine-tune the packaging. They should try they should even go to the marketplace and talk to clients, and even sometimes sell the product before actually going to a distributor. If this phase goes well, and usually what the brand owner realizes is that they are doing two jobs. They are wearing the hat of a producer and the hat of a distributor or semi-distributor, because they are doing the commercial part of the brand, and they are doing also the conception and the production part of the brand. And those are two different jobs. So this and only at this point in time, it's nice to step in. So either the brand owner come to a distributor or vice versa. So the quest is not by chance, it's an active process. So in our company, it's an active process. We try to spot the brands that are in this phase, and we go and we knock on the door and we say, okay, perhaps it's time for you to consider working with a distributor, because this is the type of added value we can bring to you, and we can free you from a lot of the horrible tasks that you think you're doing on a daily basis, for you to focus on fine-tuning your mix and developing your mix. So this is exactly what happened with Taka. This is exactly what happened with Domaine de Tourelle and Hara Abra. This is exactly what happened with Asal Adoum. And since then, we have added so many products on so many local products in our portfolio. So it's been a year now. We have more than 15 companies that we represent, 15 local companies that we represent. And it's been quite a journey, but this is basically not the type of mental process we go through to integrate a certain product in our portfolio, especially when it comes to local production, not necessarily to the product that we import. Hello.
Hello. شو عم بيصير؟
ما بعرف.
Okay. So ندى ظهرت بالغلط.
Anyway, I can continue, but can come in?
Yes, continue so that Nada gets back. Something happened.
Smile and wave. Smile and wave.
So,
Okay.
so basically, so this is for what is the minimum turnover that the brand should have for it to be part of? I think Roy was saying something about this. Okay, so there is no definite answer for this. It depends on the category. So if you go to the Mooney, which Roy has in his background, which is absolutely amazing to have. This type of category is extremely atomized in the Lebanese market. If you go to every village, you have at least 5 people who do Mooney. Okay, so it's a very atomized category. It's not centralized enough. It's not concentrated enough as a category, and it's very difficult to break through in this category. So if someone actually, strategically speaking, if someone tried to, I'll give the example of Tanayel. Okay, it's a good example to take. Okay, if you go to the 90s, a lot of the dairy, you had plenty of dairy producers, plenty of them, and all of them had the same range of products. So they had Halloum, Laban Labne, Double Crème, Akewe, etc. So, and it was difficult to say actually what's the difference between one and the other. You know, like sometimes it's the taste, sometimes it's the packaging, but at the end of the day, you are eating labne. Most of them have the same type of production, etc. So what happened is that Tanayel broke through because they realized, so they had enough enough. They had enough critical mass, and the brand name was strong enough, and they decided to take a leap of faith by increasing the price from the rest of the clouds, and spend a lot actually on connecting with the consumers. And then simultaneously, they worked on enlarging the product portfolio, and it actually worked so well for them. So they flew. Now there's a huge difference in market share between Tanayel and other players. Okay, so if you go to a lot of Lebanese villages or to the Bekaa Valley, you would see plenty of artisanal Lebanese producers, which Tanayel was at some point, but today it's a big corporation. It's very well established, and basically that's it. So for the Mooneh specifically, there is no one actually that went out of the cloud yet. Okay, and the breakthrough element is still to be discovered. So I'm sure Roy can tell us more about what kind of added value they are trying to bring to the consumers. But again, in terms of minimum turnover, so if this category actually is, even if you represent a certain category like this, the turnover that you might do on product like those is cannot be measured in millions, unfortunately, yet, because it's very atomized. So depending on the category, but for instance, and I will finish on this, in our company, the minimum turnover that a brand should have for us to consider it is $500,000. When I say $500,000, of course, I'm not talking fresh money, because there's nothing, I mean, there is no more something like this anymore, nothing like this anymore. But we're talking about basically, old currency, which is $1 equal to 1,500 Lebanese pounds. So this is the minimum we accept. And honestly, today it's so blurred because of the currency situation that we are not sure anymore that this is the threshold we need. So it's a case by case.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm gonna go now to Janine. Before that, I move to the producers and ask Roy and Sumaya, and then go back to Nicolas. Do you think local products are capable to compete with imported ones in terms of quality and consistency, Janine? And by the way, this is a question that is going to be running as well for the audience to be answering, and we will be sharing the results of your answers by the end of the webinar. So Janine, what do you think? Are we capable to compete really as local products with the international ones?
Yes, of course we can, provided we have consistency in what we want to offer and convey, and we have vision. There is currently a lot of local brands that are fully competing with the imported brands, not only because of the price barrier, but it is because of discovery of taste. And they were, in my opinion, hidden jewel that we are very much seeing the result of it mainly on our e-commerce platform. So it goes without saying that we are capable to do so. However, I think that the barrier of these brands are always scale, which is something that can, if you want, stop them from being scalable on the market and available everywhere for people to consume them. I do believe also, and this is not general, but in many of the cases, one other barrier, which is a bit different from the imported brands, is the level of investment actually that could be put behind the brand to be able to make that brand first known by the end consumer, demanded by the end consumer, and of course shine on the local market. So in a nutshell and in general, of course, you can never generalize, but if I am to take the Made in Lebanon label, I'm sure, and we are so far competing, and in many of the categories, in the opposite of imported versus local, the imported brands couldn't compete with the local brands. So if this is in general, but I think now things are it's not general, and the example Anthony gave of Tanayel is very much relevant. And when you have the scale and when you are daring enough to innovate and to invest behind your brands, there are no secrets. You can surely succeed.
Thank you. I'm gonna go back now to Roy. Roy, how are you promoting actually your brand? So if you wanna reply back to Anthony and speaking about the Moune and all of this, so.
First of all, thank you, Anthony, because you gave us an objective and you gave us more information than we know about how to, let's say, discuss our brand or our future with distributors, which is something we are very far from. So it's an indication of how you guys think, and it will help us to reach an objective and then go and call you and say, okay, we reached this objective and now we can sit down and talk. So of course the values are irrelevant because the market changed, but I mean, if there is a checklist that could be placed, like you said, by distributors for producers, and you say, you guys, okay, listen, if you want to come talk to us, there is a minimum you have to do, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you are most welcome to come talk to us and we will help you. This could be very helpful to people like us. So the thing you started now could be something on your head. So you have to make the checklist and tell us what to do next. Thank you. Regarding the how to promote our brand, basically we started with social media and we are putting a little bit more budget into it because with the lockdown and with people sitting in their houses and people not going out and everything, more and more people are using their computers and their phones and looking at neighbor stories and everything. So we took advantage of that and we used social media to attract people to the brand and push them eventually to our website to buy the product. We also used other websites in the market, online platforms, e-commerce websites to further push the brand. And this, some of them are also international, so they brought us a little bit of fresh money. Which we use to improve our brand and our label, but it's all, let's say, we're getting a little bit of money, we're expanding a little bit. If we get a lot of money, we can expand further and we can grow much faster and we can improve on the quality and we won't let competitors come in. I mean, let's say foreign brands come in. Once the market is fully saturated with Lebanese products that have the quality and have the need and the taste that the consumer wants, it will be very difficult for the foreigners to come in, not the opposite. This is what I think.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Nicola, I received a question from Greta Mhanna, and I think that you can speak more about what you did with Mawsam. She's asking, do you think there's a need for one e-commerce platform for Made in Lebanon? So we know that with Mawsam that you started it a year and a week ago. This is an online store. You are showcasing small-scale producers. You have more than 500 SKUs. So do you think that this is like answering what Greta is asking for, what you started doing?
It's part of it. It's part of it because the Lebanese market and the Lebanese scene is in dire need of initiatives like Mawsam, like Live Good, like from the villages, from Aisha Rural, and all of the similar platforms and maybe entities, may them be startups, private sector, or grassroots initiatives. And I think putting them all under one umbrella would kill the creativity of whoever is behind them in terms of trying to bring something better to the market, to be more creative in the logistics, to be more creative in trying to figure out if, for example, big distributors like Anthony and Janine are able to work with medium or big producers like Sumaya, who are the people who are able to work with small and medium or micro and small producers who maybe are like, I don't know if Roy is still small or is becoming medium. Like, for example, would Roy want to be going into the business of having a $500,000 turnover a year in order to feature on a supermarket shelf, or would he want to stay selling to a niche segmentation? Well, Sumaya answered it. Sumaya would want to know that, and this is directly linked to whether we are able to compete with the imported products or not. I'm going to talk a little bit about the first two components of the value chain when it comes to that end. What would the producer want to do, and how would the raw material that we have in Lebanon are able to help us into achieving that? Do we have enough raw material or good raw material in Lebanon to compete on the consistency and on the quality all year long, without having to go into the industrial aspect and just and decrease the value of our product? This is also a question mark that we need to ask ourselves, whether we as a country can do that. And I think that it depends on what are the products that are at hand that we want them to compare with, that we want to compare them with the imported ones, and what are the ones that we want to keep as geographical indicators or identity in Lebanon. There's a reason there's no one not even Taneil can do a proper Gruyere in Lebanon. So there's a reason for that. So we need to respect these boundaries. We need to understand these boundaries. Even if we are not covered by a policy, even we are in a kind of a laissez-faire market, unfortunately. This is it.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Sumaya. Sumaya, I received the question, and I think that you can answer that because you are selling as well your products outside Lebanon. So there is a lady who's asking, is the Lebanese product more competitive now on the international market because of the currency depreciation?
So I think, just so I answer the question technically, in order for you to compete with a brand on an international level, and you have to know your strengths and weaknesses, and you have to understand your capabilities in the environment you're operating in. I mean, today, we cannot live the dream of Lebanon. We have to understand in what situation we're operating. I would recommend, 3 things. Food safety management system. Please don't send products outside if you're not an ISO certified or you don't have FSSC. Just don't do it. You will not be able to compete. Make sure your branding meets labeling and regulations, which is a hefty process, and you need to invest in it, or you will not be able to shine on shelf. You need to have the proper building blocks for a brand in order for you to achieve the next step of imports. And today, the situation that we have as brand owners in Lebanon, as Anthony specifically said, it's expensive distribution. It's not like I made a product, I put it on shelf. There's a whole level of numbers there that you have to take account for. And our added advantage today is that you can actually enter markets more easily, because you have, with the devaluation of the lira, things have become cheaper. Your raw material is expensive if you source from outside, but with the devaluation of the lira, the costs are cheaper. You're able to allocate heftier discounts. So people look at your brand with more appetite. They might like what you're able to offer them as discounts, as end of year rebates. So yes, today I'm looking at my next 2 years as my runway. I want to use the next 2 years to get my product into the export market. And if not, it's not going to be okay, because today is the opportunity. Today we have one window, and today it is what it is, and we need to take advantage of it.
Thank you, Sumaya. I'm going to invite now with us on the panel Samer Ishmoun. Samer Tutunji from Ishmoun. Sorry. Is he with us already?
Yes, he needs to unmute.
Yes. Samer, if you can unmute, please. Hello, Samer. Yes. Please just unmute if you can. So, and he left, so.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Hi, Samer. How are you?
Hi, كيفك وكيفكن كلكن.
Hello.
Great. So Samer, you've got Ishmoon Holistics. So it's a made in Lebanon brand, and your products are found in Lebanon, and you are even sending outside Lebanon. My question to you, are you willing and capable to maintain supplying both our local market and exporting, noting that you can generate cash and fresh money more from export?
That's an interesting question. And slowly we're cutting down more and more on our profits if we want to maintain the Lebanese market. But I think we stay in the Lebanese market, at least as Ishmoon, and we want to entertain, and while focusing on export, we want to still give the Lebanese market its share of importance because of the moral reason that we started in Lebanon, and we believe that this is the country we started from, and we have, in a way, a sense of obligation to continue and to cater to the Lebanese crowd. We are loyal to our customers like they were loyal to us before the crisis. So I think it's more morally, it's a moral decision to stay in Lebanon and to suffer the losses. However, the logical answer for such a question is to go for export and make more profits through export. I think everyone here, because I know everyone, they share with me this opinion. There is also another thing that is threatening the Lebanese market. It's the policy of the government, and the fact that even the Lebanese products, agricultural products, are not protected by the government for local consumption, which is what we're facing now, because we have some products where we use apples, oranges, molasses, stuff which are produced locally, and we thought before that they will not rise up in prices like the imported products. However, we are surprised that now, due to the fact that these producers are preferring to export abroad and make more profits abroad, they are not catering anymore to the Lebanese market, or these products which were priced in Lebanese, they're becoming as expensive as the imported products. So this is like a new issue that we're discovering along the way, which is the local Lebanese products, which we are counting that they will not change in prices. So this is a challenge, really. And I think this is not a challenge that producers like us can solve. I think this is policymakers that need to protect the local market and the local producers, and not leave this free market for I don't know, like without having things in it like regulated, then the local consumer will be suffering, and we will be getting lower and lower quality products, even from local producers. So this is, yes, it's an issue. And it all goes back to policy making, which is the major issue we're suffering from because of this crisis. We don't have policymakers, or we don't have credible policymakers in this country.
Okay, thank you, Samer. Janine, I'm gonna go back to you. I know that you add the local products to your portfolio. Why the decision to add local products came? Was it just for the crisis? Can you tell us more about the growth of local product share in your sales mix?
Of course. First, no, the catering we're having on board local products was never something that we've done after the crisis. After the crisis, we've, of course, first we had many producers that did approach us from one side. And second, we were, of course, interested to get even more products. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we were approached by brand owners. So of course, we've doubled a bit of what we used to have, but many of the brands that we have, such as La Turba or Bites of Delights or Virgo, were a product that came on board ahead of the crisis. And it was, again, the choice of having or not having is basically having brands that would fit on board, that would be answering what we are offering to the consumers. So this is basically the choice. Today, what came on board actually recently is livegood.com, which is our e-commerce platform that started in the beginning basically for us to be able to promote our positive well-being food on an e-commerce platform, because we were faced with many obstacles to list them in the trade, the cost of listing. It was niche product. So in many of the cases, the trade was not very, if you want, interested or appealing to cater the whole variety. So we first created Livegood as an e-commerce platform, as I told you, which is a B2C one. And this is where actually the mix of the offering today, of the large offering we have on the platform, is basically much more of local brands versus imported brands. And that was done intentionally for many reasons. First, we do believe that Livegood, and I really do invite any of the Lebanese producers that are today with us on that panels, to, if they have brands that would fit that dynamic, we would invite them to be listed on the platform, because we do believe that this platform is now created and was created to cater further on Lebanese product within this direction. And this is where, if you want, we are feeling the need. We are surely adapting to consumer demands because of price offering, but mainly we are discovering a lot of amazing Lebanese brands that are available, in many of the cases not available in mass distribution for their own consideration too. And this is, if you want, the beauty of what we're having now.
Thank you. Anthony, I'm gonna ask the same question to you. In your company, what is the growth of local product share? And did that increase before the crisis until now? And how much?
Okay, so no, in our case, so the local portfolio represented 4% of the turnover, more or less. We had, as I said, so pre-crisis, we had so Taka, Asal Adoum, Domaine de Tourelle, Araa Brand. Those were the main local brands that we represented, and they represented before the crisis 4% of the turnover. Now, since the crisis happened, and you know this whole turmoil that we have been in, we have added many other products, and the target this year is to get to a little more than 30% of our turnover in local products. So last year we closed at 10, so we doubled. It grew from 5 to 10 in terms of weight in the portfolio, in the global turnover of the company. And this year we targeted 20. But the way we are cruising is that it will become a little bit more than 30. And it was a strategy that we purposely put in place. So during the Thawra, at night we used to go to Martyr Square, and during the day it was actually going all over Lebanon to meet a lot of the producers, a lot of the big companies or small companies or medium that wanted to actually change a little bit, you know, the route to market and integrate them to our portfolio. So, and for us, it was a very natural way to hedge the currency that was about to collapse, and actually now it's completely collapsed. So it's one way also to protect our turnover. Basically, it came from a thinking the following thinking, which is when you go through a crisis like the one we've been through, you will lose a lot of your turnover because the pegging was unnatural, and obviously a lot of the imported products cannot be sold anymore in the same quantity they used to be sold at before the crisis. So we knew we will dip a lot in turnover. We knew it quite early in the process. And for us, going to local producers was one way to rebuild our turnover with products that were less exposed to currency devaluation than imported products. Imported products are exposed 100% to currency devaluation, whereas local products are exposed to a lesser extent. It depends on the raw material. It depends on many cost components. So that's it. So by the end of the year, it's going to be around 30%.
Thank you. Wow, it's a huge increase from 4 to 30. Nicolas, I have a question to you. What advice do you give to Lebanese producers? Since you have that online convenience store, you just like work with small scale producers. So from your perspective, what advice you can give them?
Two mainly, one and two basically. To focus a lot on the quality control. With all due respect, do not pretend that you know it all. No, you don't. And I can say that I live among small producers, and I tell them this every single day. You need to invest on that aspect. And second of all, it's okay to a certain degree to seek help, because you cannot do it all by yourself. The non-brands producers, the family businesses, and the one-person producers are doing all the supply chain by themselves. This is why they are finding it hard to expand and to scale up, although they may want to do that, and they may have the technical ability to do that, but they don't have neither the time nor the energy to do that. So my advice is that, unfortunately, after this crisis, a lot of buy services have been created in order for you to help yourself, and in order for you to lean on, so that you wouldn't be worrying about the whole supply chain all by yourself, from the acquisition part until you reach the service après-vente part, including the sales, the marketing, the production, and so on and so forth.
Thank you, Nicolas. I'm going to ask now my question to both Roy and Sumaya. I'll start with Roy. Roy, did you recently introduce any new products because of the crisis and what we are facing and lacking on the market? Did you introduce new product to replace some of the international brands that we used to be having?
We did not create a new product. Basically, we just, let's say, fulfilled a need from the market. So basically, for example, we used to sell less cornichon before than now, because imported cornichon is now very expensive, and we do have our own cornichon. Spices, we sell now more spices than before. Some of our products have increased in sales. Before they were not a major or a master or a main product, and now they became. Because of the quality and because of the availability. And also I do approve with everyone who said quality control is a main issue. Consistency in the product also helped us stay in the market and sell more. There is no major, from the side of Moni production, we did not create anything new. We just increased the production of items that are required. For example, Ducroix, they had the small onion pickles, the small white onion pickles on the shelves. We have the same onion pickle, but it never sold that much. Now it's selling more, and so on. So we just increased the quantity of an existing product.
Thank you. Sumaya, what about you? Did you add or introduce new products?
I feel like Anthony, there is like, please make new products. No, so at Taka, I've always been very conservative about diversification, seeing that I really believe that quality is king, and with my current setup, you need to have a vigilant system in place, vigilant employees to make sure that your product is consistent and it can absorb shocks that you experience as a manufacturer, whether it's in Lebanon or in the export markets. To answer the question, so we are working on R&D, on working with 50% locally sourced ingredients, but it's not a line that I will launch until I crack the export market, because I don't want to dry up my team, my resources, without making sure that I have a local export that's really up to my satisfaction. I know that we export and we're okay, but it really, I need to reach the next threshold before I think of diversifying my line.
Thank you, Sumaya.
One more year.
Sumaya, I received a question directed to you from Vanessa Nadaf. She's asking you, how did you venture into the Canadian market and how did you find your distributor there?
So the Canadian distributor is, so a few years ago, I met wonderful people that actually were working in Saudi Arabia, and they had wanted to take Taka to Saudi. And then with the current situation, they decided to immigrate to Canada. And then they approached me again and said, listen, we think that this brand has a lot of potential since we work with Mediterranean flavors and we have positioned ourselves as such. So we sell vegan ma'amoul, and they're loving the vegan ma'amoul in Canada. And we've just been able to enter schools actually. So we're very excited. So it's really, I mean, it's word of mouth. It's having knocked on so many doors over 5 years, nonstop hustling. I would consider it in the Lebanese market. So I think it's a bit of that. I'm more than happy to share the names of my distributors. I have no, if Vanessa, if you need them for whatever you do, I'll be more than happy to give you their names.
Thank you, Sumaya. I have a question as well from an anonymous attendee. He's asking, what are we not producing that we should be producing in Lebanon? So Anthony, since you are wearing two hats here, you've got biomass, whereby you are a producer and you're a distributor. So what do you think can be?
So many things.
We need everything, I guess.
I mean, I don't know how to answer this. You have so many things that you can produce locally. Unfortunately, we don't have always the proper infrastructure, to produce everything, because I mean, everybody talks about raw material in Lebanon as if Lebanon can have all the raw material that the people expect to have and buy.
Yeah, yesterday we were having the conversation of the hummus, you and me.
Yes, exactly. Take the hummus example. I mean, the hummus, what is more basic than hummus? And it has two main components. It has tahine and it has hummus, the chickpeas. Okay, so if you take the chickpeas, they are imported, and if you take the sesame, it's imported. So sesame gives you the tahina. And the chickpeas and sesame are 90% of the hummus components. So you will never be able to plant chickpeas and the sesame in Lebanon. I mean, you can, but it's not, we are not appropriate. Our soil is not appropriate. Our climate is not appropriate. You have, it's like, for instance, wanting to have a local chocolate. You will always need to buy the chocolate compound or the cocoa from somewhere. And Lebanon will never plant cocoa trees, to be able to produce chocolate locally. So the challenge of raw material is, it's not only the challenge of raw material that's the problem. The problem is mostly the currency. The dollar is the key issue of everything that we have right now. But I think also, and I think Samer said it when he intervened, I think, and also, sometimes, a lot of people I met in the central bank who used to create the subsidized program for production, you realize that even they are surprised that all the products, all the financial products that were created for the Lebanese producers to be able to produce locally or to plan the production locally did not happen. So we are very late. This is a policymaker thing. To be able to produce locally. Now, what are the products that we can produce? I mean, the list is super long. I don't know. It can be baby food. It can be, you know, butter. You don't have butter in Lebanon. You don't have cream in Lebanon. You don't have baby food in Lebanon. You don't have, I don't know. I can't think of.
Thank you. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
A lot of things can be produced in Lebanon, you know, like infant milk can be produced in Lebanon. I don't know. So many things.
Thank you, Janine. What do you, what kind of new Lebanese products are you looking to distribute?
I mean, we're open. There is no specific rules or guidelines. We believe the most important is meeting with the brand owner and the producer, understanding their vision behind their brand, their needs, because at the end of the day, as I said it before, we remain the vehicle to put any produced brand in the mouth of any end consumers. So we don't have any specific like barème that or a checklist that we're open to any suggestion, and anything that could come add value to the portfolio and be the perfect match for the two-pole distributor and producer, and definitely end consumer, is more than a welcome brand.
Thank you. I have a request here. I will be sharing it as well. Packaging my product is a high cost to me. I'm looking for Lebanese factories that have a non-conventional glass shape, factories that can accept my Mooneh products for packaging. So any support would be appreciated if you know about anybody. So he just asked the questions like 3 times. So I'm just, if anybody can help that, if you can answer in the Q&A. My last question before that we wrap up, I would like to ask about your future projects, Roy, Sumaya, Nicolas. So Nicolas, any future projects, any future plans?
Yeah, of course. There's nothing but the future for us because we're just getting started, honestly. Well, first of all, because we're a startup, what we're trying to do is that we are tidying and doing the infrastructure of our home before having to go into our garden. So what we're trying to do is that we are establishing ourselves in the Lebanese market. And because we are a big believer that the Lebanese market, even though in this whole exporting approach that everybody is going through, we still believe that there are many gaps in the Lebanese market that can be sorted out, and we shouldn't neglect that. And we are in the phase of actually organizing ourselves and establishing ourselves even more. One last thing before I wrap it up, just regarding the question of the packaging. The Lebanese market cannot have a big factory to glass jars. A big factory is costly, and a big factory will produce a lot of glass jars that the Lebanese market will not be able to consume. And when it comes to exporting the surplus, all our neighbors, whether Syria or Egypt or Cyprus or anyone, have their own supply. So it's not very feasible for us to go into this business. This is why, unfortunately, we need to abide by what the import what the import business is giving us, until we have someone who is a genius, an entrepreneur genius, to figure this out for us, which he has a lot of platforms to do that nowadays and a lot of subsidies to do that nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas, for answering the question. Before that, I go to Roy. Can we please share the results of the poll? So we have 84% of the audience who answered by yes, and 16% by a no. And the question was, do you think local products are able to compete with imported ones in terms of quality and consistency? Thank you. So going back to Roy, what about your project? We were speaking about one in Ajaltoun, so can you tell us more about it?
Yes. Well, as you know, awareness leads to more sales. And this is the main concept that we had since last year. We are using social media for that, but we also have a larger plan for a concept, let's say, location, where people would come and experience the full contact with nature. They see our production, they see the farming process, they sit down in the garden, they have a coffee, they have a sandwich or something like that. They see our production, they can learn how to make moune, they can learn how to plant and grow stuff. We even have sustainability measures in place. Now we are adding photovoltaic panels, we are adding water saving and water reuse and filtration. We are also working on expanding without hurting the environment. So we are creating this concept around the Ayadina brand, which would indirectly help us grow the brand, but also help, let's say, get the people closer to nature again, and show them that a small brand can grow and can reach. This is our future plan. Hopefully this year, this summer, we will start with the cueillette, where the families can come and pick from the gardens. We will start with the small restaurant, which is a mini Sage restaurant in the garden, and the tours that we organize, and even small events where groups can come and book the place. So this will lead to more awareness of the brand, and hopefully some major distributor like Anthony will come and look at us and tell us, come on, you guys, I'm going to take you abroad. So this is our major plan.
Anthony.
Thank you, Roy. Anthony,
thank you, Sumaya.
Anthony, any future plan?
No, so for us at Taka, so we're working aggressively on gaining more brand equity. So I've always been quite conservative on the social media exposure. And now we're working a little bit more aggressively on getting the brand out. We are working with a lot of outdoor physical feats. I don't know if you've heard of the swim traverse from Cyprus to Lebanon that we did to raise awareness on single-use plastics back in 2019. This year, we're also going to be doing something huge but local, and we will be the first business in the Middle East to offset our carbon footprint in 2022. And we're already registered with the UN. So we're working a lot. I'm working the next 2 years. A lot of my energy will go into creating the mission and aligning the snacks, the healthy lifestyle and well-being with the mission of our brand, which is, we believe in at Taka that, you know, we can use business as a force for good. And I think this is since the day one, you know, Anthony signed up Taka, and I felt like, okay, together we can make it.
Thank you, Sumaya. Anthony, what are your new projects for biomass?
So biomass, one interesting thing you need to know about organic farming in Lebanon is that, you know, organic farming doesn't use chemicals or antibiotics or stuff like this, you know, and usually the conventional farming, so if you take fruit and vegetables conventionally, a lot of engrais is used in the process, and those chemicals are bought in dollars. So funnily enough, we moved from being 20 to 30% more expensive than conventional products, and now they are more expensive than us because they need to buy the chemicals in dollars. So all of a sudden, organic became cheaper than conventional. Listen, biomass exports already 25% of its turnover. So this has been going on for a while now, and what we are doing, actually, we are trying to quadruple the production because we are in a shortage mode. We don't have enough products. We never have enough products, so the demand is much higher than the supply. And what we are doing now, we are trying to quadruple the production so we are able to cater for export and local markets. So basically, this is the main focus of biomass. Once we do this, we can talk about other type of expansion, but this is now the core focus of biomass.
Thank you, Anthony. And I will be finishing this webinar by asking Janine, What are your future plans with Live Good?
So basically, livegood.com and Vintage Fine Wine and Spirits are now two projects being very soon exported outside Lebanon. So we would be in 2 to 3 territories very soon. One of them is Europe. And I think we would be having a very big mission to take our Lebanese product abroad via these e-commerce platforms. So through Vintage, it would be a lot of wine and Arak, and through livegood.com, it would be a lot of all these positive and well-being food. This is the main focus for now. And of course, we will keep on driving the existing business in Lebanon as much as possible.
Thank you, Janine. So before that, we conclude this very interesting webinar. I'd like to thank you all. This is really Lebanon. Gathering the local talents, producers, distributors, farmers, everybody. And I do believe that we have a great opportunity to promote our local products. Maybe this crisis, it is being very challenging, and it has one more time made us like go through a very tough phase. But that will make us probably become one day more of producing our own products rather than be a country that only import. So I leave now the last word for Jumana.
Thank you, Nida. Thank you all for the very interesting discussion. Learned a lot while hearing you all. So many opportunities to collaborate among each other, among producers, distributors. So many projects in the pipeline for each one of you. It was great hearing you all. Let us find ways to be more self-sufficient and produce more products locally. Collaborate more together for a better Lebanon. This talk will be available on hospitalitynewsmag.com as of tomorrow afternoon. Would you like to review it or share it? There's one very interesting topic to be discussed next week, which will be around Lebanese cuisine. And I think there's a lot that could be also included and debated and heard about Lebanese cuisine / producers / distributors and the way forward. How can we create this amazing triangle we have to promote our Lebanese cuisine, Lebanese products? Thank you all for this amazing talk, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Everyday people like you and me just want to live naturally. Time taught you and you taught me.